1 year ago in the Athens Regional, lost both of the regional final games and were eliminated. Her team has another chance here in this winner go home game 7. This is her lineup card presented by Capital One. Rachel Roop hit the tone-setting grand slam, Nicole, in the early innings of that thrilling 14-11 game earlier today.
I mean, we're not surprised. The amount of awards she's won in her conference, the amount of clutch hits that she has had so far this postseason, the tournament. She has been such a highlight throughout this game. I mean, she's a fun one to watch.
And so Trisha Ford goes right back to Sydney Lessentine, who was in the circle for the final 4 outs of the game earlier today. That went final, by the way, just 40 minutes ago. Lessentine is the freshman from Alamogordo, New Mexico. More than 60 innings this year. It has been a fine rookie season for the righty. The second pitch on the way here to Savannah Woodard, who leads off once again for Liberty. Fights it off, foul, counts 0-2.
Talked a lot about the seniors for the Aggies, how they've come up clutch, how they've come up big, but what about these underclassmen this last game on the line? 2 pitchers, rookies, really have come through for their team. Texas A&M would not be in this position playing this game 7 to go to Super Regionals without them.
Munnerlin, before she ran into that trouble in the bottom of the 7th inning, she was excellent. Lessentine faced 4 hitters, retired them all. 1-2 to Woodard's down the line. That's foul. Woodard kicked off our first game in style. Hit a solo home run against Emily Kennedy. The All-American just quite simply has struggled against Liberty in the 2 outings against him this tournament. And so Ford at least is going to begin here with Lessentine. Counts 2 balls and 2 strikes. Behind the plate, it's Kaylee Young. That's our home plate umpire. Ron White over at first. Garrett Knowles is the second base umpire. Brett Higgins at third. So this is where all of that strategy and the tactics come into play for what amounts to the second game of a true doubleheader.
I mean, after the mammoth of that first game today, the energy, the momentum, the effort that goes into that, it's a quick turnaround, it's a quick reset.
Outside corner for a called third strike.
Savannah Woodard knew that as soon as she saw it. Sydney Lessentine, she is filthy. She's going to go 64 to 68 miles an hour, but you're going to see her topping up at 68 often with that rise ball. The curveball sits at 64, but the silent changeup. Well, it's silent for a reason, because a lot of times you don't hear a lot of hits whenever she throws it. It is so deceptive. It stays low in the zone, drops off. It's just a very different look from the rest of her pitches, and a very different look from what Liberty saw back in game 1.
Rachel Roop fouled the first pitch off. Now the count evens. In that first game, the 8-5 win for the Flames, they saw Emily Kennedy in the circle all 7 innings. She gave up 8 earned. Most runs in a game in her career. She was back in the circle to start the first regional final game earlier today, but did not make it out of the second inning. It was a combination of Sydney Peters, Kate Munnerlin, and then Lessentine, as you've alluded to here, that ultimately did enough to force this 7th game. Now, Liberty still scored 11 runs, but the young arms clamped down in the late innings when they had to. The emotions were all over the place in that first game earlier today. Game of the tournament. I hope we're not speaking too far out of place. That one was excellent. Lessentine waves and misses, and there's 2 gone.
Sydney Lessentine setting a tone early, going to that rise ball. You could see that late break Very dangerous Rachel Roop. We saw her grand slam back in the first game today.
This is Bryn McManus. She's the junior from McMinnville, Oregon. Easy play for KK DeMint. And it's a 1-2-3, top of the first for Sydney Lessentine. Presented by Capital One. You got the 5 lefties there at the top of the order. Kennedy Powell was brilliant earlier today. 3 hits, drove in 4 runs, and a couple of those RBIs late. In the top of the 8th inning, she untied the score. Coco Woolley added another run later on and ultimately clinched the 14-11 extra inning win for Tricia Ford's team. She has been the architect of this Aggie resurgence in recent years. All 3 seasons they have improved their win total. They have finished higher in the SEC this past year. 2nd place finish, best ever in Texas A&M's time in the SEC. And Nicole, look who is back in the circle. It is the pitcher of the year in Conference USA, Elena Escobar. This will be her 3rd time facing Texas A&M, 3rd time starting against the Aggies, and her 4th appearance in the circle in all 4 games for Liberty.
With that pitch, that is 304 pitches in this regional alone.
All since Friday, threw 57 pitches earlier today. And she started against Texas A&M, but did not make it out of the 4th. Career season for Kennedy Powell, the junior from Conroe, Texas. Was moved into the leadoff slot in late March and has really excelled since that point. 2-1 is slashed foul. And so you reach this stage, Nicole, these 2 teams are now playing for a 3rd time. You're so familiar with your opponent, particularly the pitchers. That hits Powell, and it got her on the elbow. So it's a leadoff base runner for A&M.
Kennedy Powell, she hasn't been able to get on base quite yet up until today. Had a really great start against Elena Escobar in the first game. She's getting to start again. Escobar, she's going to throw a dominant rise ball on multiple levels, has a changeup in the high 50s. So there's a good 10-mile-an-hour speed difference mix.
Coco Woolley bunting. Rachel Crane jumps all over it. So the sacrifice does move the runner over, although Coco Woolley, with that speed, a lot of ways you could say she was trying to reach first herself. So Maya Perez, the breakout star in the SEC this season, up at the plate after a big-time performance in our first regional final game. 16 homers now, and she has gone deep in back-to-back games. Last night against Marist, earlier today as well.
Something Perez is probably thinking in the back of her head. Getting a feel for it, getting the swing. She's seen Escobar multiple times now, but also in the back of my head, if I'm the Aggie offense, I know Escobar has been throwing a lot. She has to be tired. Those pitches that were sharp, had late break, were tight on the corner. Might not see him jump quite as much. Might not see that corner be so sharp. I'm looking for those mistakes. I'm hunting those mistakes.
Escobar's got 2 strikes here on Perez. When Escobar was lifted back in the 4th inning earlier today, that's several hours ago at this point, the score was tied. A&M later swung in front, ultimately won. Off speed, falls in for a strike. And there's 2 out.
Big strikeout from a hot hitter, Maya Perez. We talked about that off-speed pulling that string. 10-mile-an-hour difference. Elena Escobar. Also that change. I like that, mixing the speed early on in this game.
Starts Mac Barber off with a strike. And what's the last couple of hours like for Escobar since she was taken out?
I think it probably had to have been something similar to Emily Kennedy. The emotions, little flipped for each other. Escobar, she starts off high, gets a little low, high again. Liberty walks away with their first loss of this regional. Emily Kennedy, at one point, I saw her standing out in the bullpen. Bases loaded, bottom of the 7th. Liberty just one run away from ending her not only season, but career.
One-two in on the hands of Barbara. So that's the inning. It's a scoreless first. We go to the second winner-go-home regional final. You're at Davis Diamonds. Game 7 winner-go-home regional final between Texas A&M and Liberty. The top seed in the field was sent to the elimination side of the bracket yesterday. They had to play their way back to the regional final. And remember, in 20 years of this tournament format, no #1 overall seed has failed to advance out of the regionals. If Texas A&M wants to avoid that fate, it's halfway done, but it's got to finish the job here in this final game of the regional final. Scoreless after 1. Alyssa Hennault leads off against Sydney Lessentine. It has been dramatic, tense,
stressful, exciting, unbelievable.
Game of the tournament earlier today at the first game of this regional final. KK DeMent handles that one, and KK Madry will hit next.
I think at times frustrating. We saw some frustration from Coach Tricia Ford for A&M in the middle of the game of Game 6. That's the last one earlier today. The reset from her team, the response that they've had to her, has been incredible.
It was a very disappointing performance, I think, relative to the Texas A&M standard yesterday, when it only tallied 5 hits against Elena Escobar. And Escobar pitched very well. But Liberty came back, scored 5 late runs, unanswered runs in the 6th inning, and turned a late 2-run deficit into a late 3-run lead. Ultimately got the job done. And that is why they have a second chance today to try to KO the #1 seed. Double elimination format. And so each team now has lost a game. Madry thought about bunting that one. The appeal down to 3rd, and they say that she did not offer. So the senior, who turned in a career year in her final season, waits out a 2-1 and smashes that down the line. That's into the screen. Madry was at the plate in the bottom of the 7th just a couple hours, probably about what, hour and a half ago at this point. With Liberty had the winning run sitting at 3rd.
Full count, 2 outs, bases loaded, bottom of the 7th. That was her situation. Swings out a pitch, pops up.
This one somehow stays fair. Madry trying to get around the tag, and according to Ron White, she did. So Madry with the athleticism here.
We have seen her with some crazy moves already, but avoiding the tag, being able to move her body on a dime, just stop, shift her body out of the way.
Oh, just a whiff.
We saw that whenever she stole a base. That was the start. Her being safe on a steal in second last game. That was the start of the rally for Liberty. Will it be the rally today? We saw a lot of challenges from both coaches early on in the game. I don't think we're gonna see a challenge here. Don't see Ford coming out of the dugout for A&M, but we can see the umpires talking amongst themselves.
Texas A&M is challenging the play at first base. It's under review.
So A&M will ultimately challenge. The call on the field is safe. Again, we showed 2 replays. I didn't see much definitive. Maybe this angle will show. Again, we got to have something definitive that shows Amari Harper does put the tag on Madry.
Right now from these angles, I mean, it is hard to tell enough to be able to overturn it. That's the big thing. So most important thing, I'm sure you're thinking, is it the tag? Is it out of the base path? Either one. But whenever you challenge, you can only pick one specific thing. So if I'm asking, did they tag? I can't address anything with out of the base path. Whenever I'm reviewing, I'm not looking at that. I'm just solely looking at the tag. And that is what this review is being over. Did she make contact? Did she tag KK Madry? And it has to be enough to where it's obvious that they can overturn it. To me, from these angles, I'm not seeing enough to overturn.
How about right here? I'm with you, partner. I don't think there's anything obvious and definitive.
Hey.
That's what's so important in these replay reviews is what was the call on the field? The call on the field was safe. So you need something obvious to overturn that now.
And I talked about this last game, but Liberty, they are big on team bonding. You see how tight their team is, very, very tight knit. But one of the challenges, one of the team bonding things that they had to do was have a dance competition. KK Madry was, in fact, the dance director to Thriller by Michael Jackson.
So you're saying some of those moves have come in handy here in the
I'm
biggest game of the year.
Not. She's 2 for 2. Safe at second, avoids the tag here in this second game at first. Maybe there should be more softball players taking dance lessons. I don't know what the takeaway from this is.
The call on the field is upheld. Safe at first.
So Liberty's got a base runner.
I've just had so much fun watching her, just her freedom, her ability to be in the moment. Like we mentioned, she had the opportunity, the senior, to win it for her team. And with a short rebound time, how do you let go of that? How do you get back into the game? Be present.
So 1-out base runner for Liberty. Bouncing ball to Harper. Dement's going to try to recover. Nope. 2 runners on for the Flames in the second.
Typically a very strong fielder. 2 little miscues, a little bit of a bobble. Amari Harper, this one just gets away from her on that backhand. You can see on that hop, her body comes up a little too high, that glove a little too stiff. Want to see her stay low to the ground, keep that glove nice and soft on the backhand.
So Paige Dorr reaches now on the second E3. That is consecutive errors. Assist to Amari Harper. Rachel Crane, the senior third baseman, she now hits. Shows bunt, runners going, and the throw hits Madry. Here goes the runner from first, and Dorr is safe. So on a bluff bunt, Madry winds up taking off. Got bonked in the face, it looked like, by that throw. but she was ultimately safe.
Love this call. Kind of plays against her. This throw was pretty far off. You could see a hard crash over at third from third baseman Kennedy Powell. I think Mac Barbara's trying to throw around her. That's why that ball went so far wide. Ends up hitting Madry, stays super close. Coco Woolley picks that up, makes it a close play over at second. Good eyes. That was a great read.
Trisha Ford is trying to reset everything in the middle of the diamond. So Liberty has got the first legitimate scoring chance early on. It's still Rachel Crane waiting on a 2-0. Waves and misses. It was the errors that plagued Liberty in the first game. The Flames commit six errors. And the Aggies have commit 2 in the top half of the second. So it's a hitter's count.
Even with that, you know that Lessentine, she's going to go up in the zone. Make it be your pitch. Hit something oppo. Let those runners come around.
Ball 4. Base is loaded in the second for Liberty.
Talk about efficient right there. Liberty. What a response. They start off this game with back-to-back strikeouts and then a ground ball. First 3 batters in the second inning, they're all on.
And it would have been, you would think, 3 straight bounce outs, but the errors have opened the door. Savannah Jesse, she is the catcher, looking for her first hit of the tournament. She's 0 for 9. And the table is set. Who's going to strike first? Liberty very much in position. That's back to the screen foul. The 2-time defending Conference USA champions. They've matched a school record with their 49 wins this season. One of the most dangerous mid-major programs in America for years. They've got an opportunity. That's back to the screen as well. It was fisted foul.
Lessentine doing a good job. Savannah Jesse, she has been pounded on the inside half of the plate all day long. She has not moved. Lessentine, she's picking right up where her teammates left off.
We'll do it again. That's a 3rd straight foul ball.
Lessentine going up in the zone, kind of trying to see if you could get a chase. Not a bad idea with so many foul balls.
She came inside again. This time Jesse lays off of it. Swing, but it's pulled foul. Hit hard down the line.
Even head coach Scott had to move out of the way. That one, the exit velo, whenever you throw to the same location time and time and time again, you're starting to see Jesse anticipate, be on time for that inside pitch. I think A&M right now, a disruptor. Up in the zone, off speed, something to throw off her timing.
Outside corner, it's a called 3rd strike. So Lessentine works the opposite side of the plate. That's her 3rd strikeout, nearly 1 time through the order. It'll be up to Savannah Watley next.
And this is it. Whenever you see those hitters start to get on rhythm with that inside pitch, whatever location it is, something to throw them off. You could see that Jesse was not prepared for that pitch at all.
So, Nicole, here's the 9-hitter. It's Watley, redshirt junior from California. She started every game of this regional after missing more than 2 weeks with an injury down the final stretch of the regular season. She's been productive. The newcomer of the year in Conference USA after transferring from Oregon State.
The biggest thing I've been impressed with is she won newcomer of the year, but she was out twice, two separate occasions with 2 different concussions. Had another injury, kept her out of the conference tournament. And even with all that, she still won newcomer of the year. That tells you the kind of impact she has, not just offensively, but defensively as well. That's why those miscues last game, they were so surprising.
She's got a 3-0 count. Lessentine can't miss here. Outside corner for a strike. And she has been clutch. Remember, she brought home one of the first runs in that bottom of the 7th inning rally in the first regional final game earlier today. Lessentine lets it go. That slash foul. And we got a full count coming up.
Liberty, they've had multiple times where they've left the bases loaded. Less than 2 outs. That has been their struggle, their Achilles heel.
Watley hits it, but foul down the line.
Get on base here. Not only do you score a run, but you also turn that lineup back over. Watley, she's done a fantastic job this regional, just knowing what her role is. Turn it over. My job isn't to get the home run. My job is to get on base, get that person back up.
Couple of really quality at-bats in this top half of the second against Lessentine. 3-2, rolled over to the right side. DeMett handles it. It's a scoreless top of the second. Lessentine strands the bases loaded, middle of the second. A&M tries to get on the board first. Next. Most dangerous, if not the most dangerous mid-major in America for years. They have been in so many of these regional finals. Count it up, it's now 5 times in their last 6 NCAA tournament appearances. Last year, they were a strike away from advancing to the first ever Super. That heartbreak has fueled the 49-win season this year. They win the league again. They get back into the regional round. Yesterday, handed the #1 seed a loss. So earlier today, they had a chance to just get it done in the first game of the regional. Lost that one, so we play this winner go home game 7. Elena Escobar, who was in the circle in that game against Georgia a year ago, faces 5, 6, and 7 for Texas A&M here in the home half. Amari Harper leads off.
You got to see those numbers that flashed. Amari Harper has been phenomenal, but today she's been pretty silent, hasn't gotten on base yet. Think about that second half of the lineup for A&M. She's really been the catalyst for them all regional long, all season long.
Harper bounces it off of McManus's mitt. That's a base hit. The all-conference selection after a hitless day earlier. This program veteran is on base to start the second.
That's been a long time coming. Just the adjustment. She knows how they're going to be pitching her. She knows that they're going to try and get her out the same way, but the adjustment that she has been able to make.
You know, they're scoring this in E3. I would think that could change. But nevertheless, Texas A&M has a runner on. KK DeMint, this fantastic rookie, who now has 15 homers, has gone yard twice this weekend.
Love the way that she gets set up in her load. Watch how KK DeMint really puts that weight into that back hip. You can see even whenever she lands, she's solid and she's locked in. A lot of times you'll see hitters, whenever they go to swing, Whenever that front foot lands that stride, their weight will shift onto that front leg. She is solid in that back leg.
You know, she's from Selma, California. That's not far from Fresno. So she and Tricia Ford, they go way back. Ford spent a number of years as the head coach at Fresno State before taking the Arizona State job. Drills this one. This could go. Goodbye. Two-run blast for the superstar rookie.
Big-time celebration. The exit velo, 74 miles per hour. We talked about how she stays in that back leg so well, even with that elevated pitch. By being able to be in that back leg, that barrel, getting on plane early, she just tees off on this one. Little point, little smile, a bit of celebration. Texas A&M, they are on the board early here.
2-zip in the second. Allie Enright, the number 7 hitter, fouls the first pitch back. That was just a beautiful swing.
It's everything you want to see from a hitter. And freshman or not, she plays with a high IQ. She knows the patterns. You can tell it. As a pitcher, as a fan even, whenever you're watching and you're being intentional about the pitching sequence and you're paying attention, you can see whenever hitters going after something. You can see whenever they're not ready.
She's just raked at the plate. You saw the numbers a moment ago. 8 out of 12 in this regional round. Rachel Crane sticks with that one. So there is one out. Enright retired. Kramer Eschte is up next. I thought Tricia Ford, she was beaming when you asked about her a couple of days ago. Just said this freshman is just not overmatched at all. Speaks exactly to what you're saying.
But more than being overmatched, she was just saying, this is the kind of athlete that you want to coach. This is the kind of person that you want to coach. She's like, you can't even be mad at her. Whenever you're trying to be mad, she's like, yes, of course, coach. My bad. And then she's like, what am I supposed to do with that? I'm trying to be mad at you.
Coach's dream. Now Frankie Vrajel. So she hits for Kramer Eschte here. That is now 9 home runs for Texas A&M in this regional. A lot of that was against some of the other mid-major teams, St. Francis and Marist, until today. That's a base hit for Vrajel.
Nice job by Vrajel, just keeping those hands inside the ball whenever she's going on the slap. I think that's one thing that these lefties, whenever they slap for Texas A&M, they do such a good job of keeping their hands elevated, not dropping them. That's where you see slappers pop up the ball, but instead keeping them elevated, a hard punch through the infield. They have been utilizing that time and time again. And then also Escobar. A long day, a long weekend. Those pitches that we talked about, they're not as tight on those corners. Whenever they leak back over the plate, these hitters, they take advantage.
116 pitches in the Friday win against Marist. Complete game victory against Texas A&M yesterday. That feels like 3 days ago at this point, by the way. Threw 130 pitches in that game. 57 earlier today in our first regional final game. So yes, that number is climbing.
Each game feels like a whole day has passed, you know? Like this is day 2 of the regional final, it feels like.
We're somehow bending time. This could be a double play to retire the side, and it is. Mathis lines out to Watley and a nice heads-up play. But it is Texas A&M that strikes first on its home field in a win-or-go-home regional final. This rookie phenom, KK DeMint, now 16 home runs of the year for number 16. Chris Budden, Matt Schick, Tori Vidalis, who is feeling a little better perhaps. Texas A&M, the All-American, by the way.
She's a legend around here.
Tara Henry as well in the studio.
She's a national champion herself.
Maybe feeling a little more at ease perhaps. A&M, the 1 seed, was forced to win a couple of games today in order to reach the Super Regionals. What a brilliant catch. Kelsey Mathis. A web gem.
I mean, she knows this one is going to be foul, going all out, full extension. A great first read, but I think the best part of this, look at her reaction, immediately looking towards her pitcher, towards her team, saying, I got you. This one fouled straight back into the eyes of Mac Barbara. That, they're going to give her a second. Kind of let her reset. Tell you what, Mac Barbara has been beat up this regional between hit by pitches, foul balls, balls fouled into her leg. To be a catcher, you have to be next level tough. And all that, Mac Barbara, she didn't even start at the catching position at the beginning of this year. A couple of injuries, lineup situations. Coach Ford goes, are you willing? And she said, whatever you need.
She has stepped up in a massive way. Rachel Roop watches the count even up at a ball and a strike. She really was a game-changing acquisition in the offseason. Had 1 extra year of eligibility left after 3 terrific seasons at San Diego State. 1-1 is ripped. That's past Powell's mitt. It's a base hit for the Conference USA Player of the Year. So Liberty has a runner on. Top of the 3rd, down 2-0. Win or go home. Regional final. Bryn McManus takes a strike in the outside corner.
Lessentine has done a good job just finding those corners. A little bit tighter last game. We're seeing a little more river. If it is being called, take advantage of it as a pitcher. I mean, she's 10 for 12 with first pitch strike. She is going at these Liberty hitters, just relentless attacking.
She's got 3 punch outs. And that root base hit was the first single of the day for Liberty.
One may have been close, didn't get called. Aggie faithful not happy with that one. We sure are vocal today.
So it's a favorable count here for McManus. Count goes full.
And this is where I think from the Liberty hitters, I would want to see aggression. Whenever there's a 3-1 count, you know that pitcher has pressure to put the ball over the plate. I am wanting to attack. I want to go at it.
McManus sends it out to right, the opposite way, 2 gone. Alyssa Henall to hit next.
Because whenever you let those pitches go by and you sit and you watch the ones that are squarely on the plate, the way that Lessentine has been pitching, she throws that very next one on the river. You have to defend that, and you get hits like that.
Lessentine came out of the bullpen. in the most tensest of times. Liberty had just tied the score, had the winning run at third base in the bottom of the 7th of our first game today. 0-1 pitch is outside. She comes out of the bullpen. Full count to KK Madry, but then does get her to fly out to left field. Lessentine then retired the side in the bottom half of the 8th inning to close out the 14-11 thrilling win. That base runner, by the way, is out. That's going to retire the side. So the mistakes, some of them are bedeviling Liberty here in the early innings, and A&M has a 2-0 lead. It's a game 7. We'll see how that one plays out. Boy, coming into today, Liberty was in the driver's seat. They lose the first game. Now all of a sudden, Texas A&M with a 2-0 lead in game 7. And they would like to be the next team to punch its ticket to the Super Regionals. Home third, and it's the top of the order to face Elena Escobar.
Yeah, like you said, a lot of these Super Regionals, they've been set up. You have Florida versus Georgia, Texas versus Clemson. Nebraska will be facing Tennessee. Talk about a power match with the arms. OU and Bama, they faced off earlier this year. Bama took the series. Florida State and Texas Tech. And then there's 3 other regionals still ongoing, ours being one of them. There's a lot of drama unfolding throughout this regional.
Kennedy Powell trying to bunt her way on. That one rolls foul. You know, so again, entering action today, you know, there was a scenario where with both national seeds, Oregon and Texas A&M, having to win twice today, it's tough to do. It's not as if it hasn't been done before. But you start to play things out. Boy, Liberty looked good yesterday. What if Liberty wins? What if Stanford advances? Liberty was, at one point earlier today, in a pretty solid position maybe to advance and host a Super Regional. Now it finds itself down 2 runs here in this decisive game 7. Still in the early goings. A&M with the extra inning victory earlier today. The 1 seed keeps its season alive. Back to Escobar. Nice stop, and Powell is retired. 1 away in the 3rd. Coco Woolley to hit next.
Really good snag there by Escobar, getting that out. Love a pitcher who can field her position. Whenever you have that ability, you add another defender to the infield.
Just back to our prior point. This has been a roller coaster of a day, particularly right here at Davis Diamond.
Even this game started off as a bit of a roller coaster. Liberty had bases loaded already this game. Wasn't able to convert. We've seen that multiple times from them during this regional, multiple times since they faced A&M. And of course, Texas A&M, big time home run from KK Demont.
(2-1) is slashed foul, so the count evens. You're right on, though. Before the Dement homer, that was the first legitimate scoring chance. Liberty had the bases loaded with just 1 out in that top half of the 2nd. Kennedy Powell told us right after our first game went final. She said, we're a gritty team. This is going to be really difficult to beat the speedy Woolley. That is what she does better than most. 1 out base runner. Here comes the superstar Perez.
And I mean, this crowd goes wild for her every time she walks up. A little bit because of what she does at the plate. I mean, just absolutely hammers the ball. But a new walk-up song today as well. I think that might have something to do with it.
Got it off speed. Pitch falls in for a strike. Escobar, the ace, the headliner, the staff, 20-game winner. At an ERA hovering right around 2 before the start of today's action. Perez lines that pitch out to center. That's the second out. So Woolley gets back to first. You know, this is why this A&M offense is so dangerous. You get through Perez, and look who's right behind her, Mac Barbara, one of several hitters in this A&M order with double-digit home run total. She's got 2 in this regional.
You'd think you face Maya Perez, you get that out, you can breathe a sigh of relief. Not so. Mac Barbara and Amari Harper.
Barbara drills it. If it's fair, foul ball. That's the signal. She knew it was close.
She was licking her chops on that one. That's the pitch as a hitter. Whenever you're in the batter's box, your eyes light up. That foot starts to wiggle midair. You go, there it is.
Got to protect now with 2 strikes. Her first couple of seasons at Ole Miss, went to San Diego State, left as one of the best hitters in program history. One last go around here with A&M. 1-2. Back up the middle, base hit for Barbara. Woolley's going to go first to third. Madry's throw, little late. Here goes Woolley, caught in a rundown now. Somehow she evades the tag, but she's way out of the baseline now. So Woolley is out, and that's the inning. So Kaylee Young all over that one. That retires this side. A wacky sequence. A&M gets a little too aggressive there. We'll talk to Dot Richardson, Liberty head coach, next. Well, and so the sequence at the end of that third inning, by the way, Coach Richardson just referenced it here. The runner that ran out of the base path was called out, by the way. That was right after this sequence here.
And not clearly not obstruction. So we're just establishing that that whole backside of the base was open. But this is where there's a lot of confusion. You have to, as a runner, move 3 feet away. So once you start running a certain direction, you have 3 feet, one way and the other. That is your established baseline. So whenever you're running and you go outside of that 3 feet radius, which whenever this rundown unfolds, you start to see the tag. She is well outside of that 3 feet running lane that she established. That is whenever the home plate umpire, she called her out of the baseline, and eventually that was a third out.
Now, what we are looking at the replay review center, just to make it very clear here, Texas A&M has challenged that there was obstruction at third base. I think you and I are on the same page here, where we didn't see much of anything that would rise to the ruling of obstruction. That is what is getting sorted out right now in our replay review center in Pittsburgh.
And I understand wanting to call and get that run across the board, make sure that you have that runner over there at third. But this is Trisha Ford's second appeal. So whenever they're calling that obstruction, it is from not the initial slide into third, the throw, but whenever she starts to go from third base, Woolley starts to go from third base to home, that is where they're calling the obstruction. And that, to me, she just missed the ball. The third baseman for Liberty, Rachel Crane, does everything that she can to hang on to that ball. It gets away from her. She's trying to go get the ball. Woolley, she's trying to go home. I don't think that is obstruction.
Yeah, I don't know how you, I would agree. I don't know how you could add that at the end of this play. It was not called on the field.
But this is A&M's, again, second review. It's the second time Trisha Ford has called it early and used both of them early on in a game.
Big call here in this game.
After review, the play has been determined that there was obstruction at third base.
Wow.
The runner cannot be put out between home and third base. We are going to place her back at third base. 2 outs. That is Texas A&M's last challenge. Second challenge.
No more challenges left for Texas A&M, but the challenge does prove successful here. This is a big moment now in this game.
This is the second time that Liberty, they've had a big moment, and the call has gone against them. And if I'm Dot, I'm going to be pretty fired up. I wouldn't waste a call on this because it's from the obstruction. I wouldn't waste a call on runner out of the baseline.
That's Liberty's third baseman, by the way, Rachel Crane, who's getting worked on here. And so Henault replaces Crane at third base. There was a lot to that sequence, Nicole.
I don't think that was obstruction, and honestly, a little frustrated that that call was changed. She was just trying to field her position and go after the ball. There was no, to me, there was no obstruction. There was no collision there. Excuse me, there was a collision, but I don't think there was obstruction.
When you slow it down, and especially from one of the angles that we saw, it did appear, you know, Crane is reaching for the ball and then starts running for the loose softball very quickly. So this is a very big moment, by the way, in the bottom of the third here, adding an obstruction call after it went to the replay review center. So now the count, by the way, is 0-2 on Amari Harper. Barber's at second, Woolley at third, and A&M is trying to add to its 2-0 lead. Have you had a sequence? Have you seen one like that where an obstruction was added after a replay review?
No.
Yeah, that's the first time I've seen that myself.
But whenever you're doing the review, you, like we talked about, you have to ask specifically for whatever it is, whether it's runner out of the baseline, whether it's obstruction going into the bag, obstruction leaving the bag.
2-2 to Harper. That one is ripped through the right side. It's a base hit. One run is in. Barber gets the stop sign at third. Amari Harper delivers. It's 3-0.
Amari Harper delivering on a big opportunity. A&M runners in scoring position, and she knew right away this was through the 3-4. Adding some insurance runs early and often, and if you're Liberty, like I said, you have to be frustrated with the call that was made at third. They had a huge missed opportunity. Game one, bases loaded, out at home. She was called safe. Another one, out at home again, called safe.
And it's 3-0 Aggies. I think that's a sequence that could be talked about quite often this week, depending on how this one shakes out. KK DeMint ripped a 2-run homer her first time up. Absolutely lethal at the plate, this regional. Takes a strike at the knees.
I mean, what she's been able to do as a freshman, as an athlete, her eye, she has such a great eye. But her biggest thing, sticking to her plan. She does not deviate. And this is a hitter that you don't want to face if you're Liberty. Didn't want to have to face Amari Harper. But right now, this is the situation you're in. You cannot be, as frustrating as it may be, you cannot stay in that world. You cannot live in that world. You're here and now. Again, going back to Liberty's main theme, be present.
Casey Fagan, the pitching coach, with a quick conversation with Escobar in the infield. Let's see if this bottom of the third continues. Escobar coming. It's 2-2. About a 5-10 minute delay for the replay at third base. Obstruction was added. Woolley was placed back at third. Table was set for Amari Harper, and she drove in Texas A&M's third run of the game. This win or go home regional final. Foul tip into the mitt, and Liberty does get out of it. One more run comes home for A&M after the obstruction call. Done with 3. The 1 seed's ahead. Start of the 4th inning, Liberty back at the plate, and it's 3-0 Texas A&M. The Aggies add another run after a very interesting bottom half of the 3rd inning. So more on that in just a couple of moments here.
Coco Woolley, I mean, did a fantastic job. She felt like there was obstruction. She headed home. There was a big play that was going on just this last half inning. And then that was a great argument by Trisha Ford, not using her second, and again, early on in the game, but using her second replay call. She's out of them for the game. Won this one. But the call in question was there obstruction at home going from third base to home?
Let's flash it back to our first game earlier today. This was in the 5th inning. A bang play at the plate.
And that was a great tag, but there were multiple times in this game that there was issues at home plate, and here's another one today. Coco Woolley, knowing that she got obstruction, she's willing to sacrifice, get that out at home, because she knows she's reverting all the way back to third. There's a reset. It's clear that's what the replay was about. And you know what? Mari Harper, she was the batter up next. Has a nice hard hit into the 3-4, scores a run, and another run across for Texas A&M. Insurance 3-0.
And you know, that play we were referencing from earlier today, it was a play at the plate. So, by the way, we'll start this top half of the 4th inning with KK Mandry in the batter's box. So there have been a couple of controversial 50-50 calls in today's very entertaining, compelling regional final. Mandry fouls that one off down the line, so the count's quickly 0-2. Sydney Lessentine is back in the circle. Now, Nicole, the play I'm referencing from earlier, that was Back in the 5th inning, bases were loaded. Ground ball off of an Aggie bat, goes to Savannah Woodard over at second. She comes home. Looked like she beat the runner with the throw, with the catcher on the plate. Our home plate umpire signaled safe. That extra run, how crucial was that in a game that was tied 11 up after 7 innings?
Crucial enough. We heard Coach Dot in the interview. She was fired up about that one, as she should be. I mean, that's the difference between this regional being over and playing the second game here.
Winner advances to the Super Regionals. This is it. Both teams have taken a loss.
We'll say this, though. Texas A&M, they consistently put themselves in situations where they are able to score. They are in that position. You don't get those calls. You don't get those plays at the plate if you don't have runners on, if you're not making those hits, if you're not being consistent. And that is what this A&M team has done. The Aggies, they are fighting, living up to the name.
They really have been relentless today. No 1 seed in 20 years of this tournament format has failed to advance out of the regional round. 3-2 is low. So it's a leadoff base runner for Liberty in the 4th. Madry, so many occasions this weekend where in that 5-hole she has led off an inning. She has gotten on. She has started a rally. Paige Dorr bats next. Texas A&M, by the way, Nicole, has been in this position a couple of times before. One other time as a national seed. It has lost a game on Saturday and had to come back and win twice on Sunday. Count evens up and a ball and a strike. That was back in 2007. Lost to Houston in that Saturday game. Came back and beat them twice in order to advance to the Supers. That season, going to the College World Series as well. Outside corner, and Lessentine gets ahead of Dorr.
Both of these teams, a little bit of heartbreak. We saw Liberty's last year against Georgia and Athens, 1 strike away, but Texas A&M, they had a tough super against Texas. That memory doesn't fade. For A&M, Tricia Ford said this year, the whole mindset, starting in the fall, this was a year-long process, teaching this team how to love the hard. And if anything has been hard today, it has been these games. It has been the comeback.
Swing and a rip, but foul down the line.
So many times she talks about practice. It has to be harder than a game is. You're going to come to practice. You're going to put in work. It's going to be hard. You're going to be sweaty. You're going to be tired. And that's when we're going to remind you as a staff, as teammates, as accountability partners. You remember last year? You remember what that felt like? This is why we're doing this. That way, whenever it comes to the game, you just get to play it. You get to have fun. It's fun to compete. You're passionate about being in these types of situations. We've seen A&M get big. They love it.
Fouled off again, so the at-bat continues. A lot of these players, they refer to themselves as a gritty team. Battle-tested. Finished second in the SEC, half a game behind Oklahoma. Won more games against ranked teams than anybody in the country this year. Wave and a miss. Lessentine now with 4 strikeouts.
A huge strikeout. I mean, this wasn't a battle. Listen, had to earn that one. Foul ball after foul ball, decides to go up in the zone. You can look at that spin rate, see that jump. It starts at the knees, ends well above the shoulders, out of the hand, into the catcher's glove.
So Nicole, how about this move? Dot Richardson pinch hits Alexia Carrasquillo. She had that pinch hit RBI single in the bottom half of the 7th inning in the first game earlier today. That big hit started the 4-run rally. So Carrasquillo, just a freshman, but she has been productive in her at-bats this year.
Whenever you are just sitting and you're waiting for your name to be called, that's the moment that you want to live for. And right now, this conversation, Mac Barbara, that ball was fouled off right back into her helmet. That's the second time she's gotten hit right in directly between the eyes this game. I think she's just trying to give her athlete a little bit of time to reset. And that's not an easy hit to take once, much less twice in one game.
Nothing Texas A&M. Middle innings. It's the top of the 4th. Madry drew a leadoff walk against Lessentine, the freshman from New Mexico. She's at first, 1 away. Carrasquillo now behind in the count. Here comes a 1-2. That's ripped foul.
These freshmen are so fun to watch in this game. As a freshman, you don't know what to expect for postseason. You don't have these expectations of last season upon you. You just know that you love to play, and you're in the game, and you get to battle. What better opportunity than this?
Waving a miss, strike 3. Lessentine beats her with the pitch up in the zone. That's back-to-back strikeouts. So game 1, remember, of the Western Conference Finals is Tuesday night. The Thunder, who won the Game 7 earlier today against the Nuggets. They host the Timberwolves, 8:30 Eastern on ESPN. And the Countdown crew tips it off. Our coverage starting at 7:30. Jesse flies out to right. Inning is over. A&M leads at 3-zip. We'll talk to Tricia Ford next.
KK knew she was on. Did you see the wave from her? She knew.
They know where the camera is.
They do. They did that yesterday as well. They got eyes peeled.
Home field advantage for more ways than one.
Always looking good.
You saw Coach's face the second you brought up the men. She lit up the 2-run homer earlier today. A&M back at the plate, 7, 8, 9 due up for the Aggies. The bottom of the 4th inning. The stakes are simple, Nicole. Both teams have taken a loss now at this point. Double elimination format, the regional round. So the winner of this one advances to the Supers. And the loser's season comes to an absolutely just gut-wrenching, bitter end. Elena Escobar still in the circle for Liberty.
It's a lot of seniors on both sides.
Yes.
And like you said, gut-wrenching. For a lot of them, it's not just their season, it is their career. You devote so much time. You start off as a little kid picking flowers, doing cartwheels in right field. And this is where you end, on the biggest stage, competing. But if I'm an athlete, I want to look back at my career and go, man, I left it all on the field tonight. I have nothing to regret.
Swing and a miss, and Escobar has now struck out consecutive hitters. One away to start the fourth.
This one, nice, tight, in on the hands of Enright. I mean, that is right in the hitter's hole. Hitting that belt loop, that belt line right there, that is one of the hardest spots to hit as a pitcher.
Frankie Vrajel singled back in the second. This particular day for both these teams, it's quite arduous. There were several national seeds today that were tasked with beating an opponent twice. Texas A&M as the 1 seed. It's going to be a harder path than it usually is for a 1 seed to get to a super. Texas A&M, of course, is playing its 5th game now the weekend. With Oklahoma at the College World Series, did you have a situation like this where you had to not only face a team, beat them, but then turn around and play, what, 35, 40 minutes later into shallow left? Dorr has it, second out.
Automatically, I think of the Women's College World Series back in 2019. OU, we were playing Alabama, and I mean, that's always a tough game, a tough matchup. Patrick Murphy puts together a great team. And it was just in the last inning, I dropped the game-winning run out in the outfield. 30 minutes later, we have to come back, both of our seasons on the line. But also, not just the season ending, but the advancement. We were this was for the national championship. Here, this game today, it's to go to a super regional to advance.
Mathis strikes that foul. So she's got to protect here with 2 strikes. And for Liberty, winning this game would be like
incredible.
Advancing.
First time in program history. I mean, that to them, they have been working so hard to get past that top 25 bubble into top 16.
Just off the outside edge.
But that mindset, that bounce back, that recovery, you have this adrenaline, and by the time that second game starts, 30 minutes later, that adrenaline, it's crashing. You must have the adrenaline hangover. How do you get out of that?
Into right, Roop's got it. 1-2-3 inning for Escobar. First time she's retired the side in order. Liberty bats got to get going. Live on ESPN. Go to NCAA.com for more information. Texas A&M, the #1 overall seed for the first time in program history after this brilliant season. Quite simply one of the best teams in America all year. They were atop the national polls for the first time in program history. Won more games against ranked clubs than any other team in America. They're up 3-0 in this regional final, the final game of the weekend. Sydney Lessentine back in the circle to start the 5th. Faces 9-1 and 2 in the order. It has been an arduous weekend for Texas A&M. Lost to this Liberty team yesterday, went to the elimination side. Knocked out Marist to ultimately vault themselves back to this regional final. After a thrilling, exciting, dramatic 14-11 extra inning victory over the Flames earlier, it forces this winner-go-home game for both teams. The 1 seed with Lessentine in the circle, in control. What have you thought about Lessentine, the freshman, today?
I mean, I knew going into this regional weekend, we saw what she could do back on Friday. We knew Emily Kennedy was going to get the start game 1. but the way that she has been able to command her strike zone, that is it right there. And I feel like in these last few innings, that rise ball has really come into play. Liberty, they're expanding their zones, having trouble discerning which one is the strike and which one is going out. She's tunneling both of them so well. 5 strikeouts on the night on only 75 pitches. This is a Liberty team. I mean, they scored 11 runs this past game. They know how to hit, and she is being able to keep them calm, keep them at bay.
A two-hitter she's got going in a winner-go-home regional final. Savannah Woodard, the 6th-year senior, pops it up foul. You mentioned before, both of these teams, they are veteran clubs. There's a player like Woodard, put it all together this season. She thrived. Warrior, Alabama native, landed on the all-conference team. A breakout season for her. Drills it deep to left. This chases Eshte back. Had it all the way.
Such a great read by Eshte. We were just talking about how Lessentine, she's only throwing a 2-hitter. She has been such a good job of keeping these Liberty hitters off balance. But whenever they do get the hit, this Aggie defense, immediately, first step back, being able to track that ball down last minute with a quick hip flip. And that, to me, I think, as this game has started to unfold, as game 1 happened, that's the biggest difference between Texas A&M and Liberty to me right now, is opportunities and what do you make with them.
That time Rachel Roop totally fooled by the off speed. Liberty left the bases loaded back in the 2nd inning. Had some runners on the base paths. When the 3rd came to a close, a base runner got hit by a batted ball. So that's how they ran themselves out of the 3rd.
Again, the opportunities. Liberty has run themselves out of innings. They had bases loaded with 1 out. Didn't score a run. So many opportunities. A&M, they've making the most of it.
Roop drills this one. This is back towards the scoreboard, and it's out of here. Rachel Roop goes yard again. Her 22nd homer of the season. Liberty is on the board in the 5th.
That swing was a long time coming for Liberty. Exit speed at 71 miles per hour. I mean, this one was an absolute blast from Roop in her wheelhouse, and that's the difference. That's a lower rise ball. That's the one that Lessentine, she throws for a strike. And whenever she gets it lower in the zone against a hitter like Roop, whenever she makes contact, it goes far.
Now the 3-hitter, Bryn McManus, rips it through the left side. That's a base hit. So at Texas A&M, we told you, has scored all of those runs with 2 outs this regional. And now it's Liberty with a little bit of a 2-out rally. Alyssa Hennell, who has been so productive this weekend, will hit next. But who is she going to face?
And I think Trisha Ford, short leash, learned her lesson the first time. And guess who is back for some more? Emily Kennedy, the senior, the All-American, the ace for Texas A&M. I love whenever a coach gives her pitcher an opportunity to make a wrong right.
You can hear the ovation. This program veteran, the All-American, replaces Lessentine in the 5th. Winner go home game 7 in Bryan College Station. Back in the circle, the All-American from a season ago, Emily Kennedy, the senior from the Woodlands, Texas, has been the frontline starter. Jams Alyssa Henall, and the inning is over. She replaces Sydney Lessentine, gets the final out in the 5th. Liberty, though, gets a run. Rachel Roop goes yard. It's 3-1, middle of the 5th. Liberty on the board in the top half of the 5th inning, and so Texas A&M is back at the plate with a 3-1 advantage. No 1 seed in this regional round since we went to this format in 2005 has ever been KO'd in the regional round. Texas A&M, they have had this desire, this dream of going to the College World Series, so it must win this game in order to keep that dream alive. For Liberty, it needs another miracle. This is the leadoff hitter, Kennedy Powell. Flies out to Roop, there's 1 away. Elena Escobar, the ace pitcher of the year in Conference USA, is still in the circle. Has to face the top of the order. Coco Woolley bats next. Liberty has never been to the Super Regionals. It keeps getting closer and closer and closer year after year.
Biggest thing that Liberty needs to have tonight, you don't have many opportunities left. You have to learn to make the most of every advantage. You only have so many outs. Any opportunity, any advantage that you get, you have to make the most of it. Texas A&M, that's what they did earlier on in this game, back in the 2nd and 3rd inning. Look at the position.
Comes up empty. No, Liberty, you're right, left a number of runners on base earlier today. Now they just got their first run with Rachel Roop's 22nd homer of the season. Over to the left side, this is Watley, got to turn it fast. Woolley, how many times has she done that? 1 out single. She is aboard for Maya Perez.
I am just in awe of her. I want to go down and personally shake her hand, say, can you take me through a slapping clinic? Because what she has been doing has been so consistent. She's going to soft slap. She's going to bounce it. She's going to hit it through the infield. She can do it all.
I think Maya Perez likes hitting behind her. Todd Richardson is talking with Kaylee Young, our home plate umpire. Liberty's shortstop, that's Savannah Watley, who just heaved that throw across the diamond, is walking now with the athletic trainer, Michael Worthy. She's holding her right arm and in a lot of pain right now.
Something that you hate to see. Battled injury time and time again all season long to get to this point. This one's deep in the 5-6, and you could see right away, right after the throw.
So you would think now Jemiah Byram is going to come on here, and yes, she will play shortstop. Just felt something immediately after that throw. It's been such an arduous recovery for Savannah Watley. She's dealt with a number of injuries this season, has been very productive in this regional. However, she's going to get worked on now in the dugout. Here's the fan favorite, Maya Perez. She's hitless today, though, after a super game 1 earlier today. Knocked in 3 runs, had a 2-run blast in that wild, exciting extra inning victory for Texas A&M earlier. 14-11, the final in 8 innings.
Just an absolute thriller. Whenever you think postseason, those are the kind of games that you think of.
Woolley on the move, throw down to second, and she's safe. There's another stolen base for A&M's leader, Coco Woolley.
Coco Woolley just so quick, so fast, and we've seen it a lot from a lot of these athletes. Whenever they're going into second, whenever they're diving towards bags, going in head first, you can maneuver your body a little bit easier. You can avoid a tag by removing an arm.
Doc Richardson's going to challenge this.
Of leaving early at first base.
You know, so she's going to check to see if the runner left early. I was going to make a comment about, we just saw the replay of Richardson was challenging whether or not the throw beater. I think they were going to have a hard time overturning that one. So did Woolley leave early?
As I saw it whenever I was watching, I think that has been such a hot topic from last year. So athletes, they have been training, practicing time and time again. Make sure that you get those timings. And being able to make sure you're not leaving early, that is what Coco Woolley does. And also, she doesn't have to. She has the speed to not even have to leave early, not cheat, because she is that fast. I do get the challenge. You do not want Coco Woolley on second base. It's fifth inning. You want to go ahead and use a challenge. But I think it'll be upheld. I think it'll stay the same.
I think that pitch was thrown for sure before she did leave.
The result is that there was not a leaving early. The play is upheld.
One out. Woolley's at second. A&M with a 2-run lead. And you have got this monster middle of the order coming up. Escobar had to find the zone there against Maya Perez. Just a gigantic production jump from freshman to sophomore year for the Corona, California native. And she works the walk here. You've got 2 on now for Matt Barbara. Remember, game 1 of the Western Conference Finals between the Oilers and the Stars begins Wednesday night in Dallas. Puck drop 8 Eastern on ESPN. Coverage starts with the point at 7:30, 4:30 Pacific. Championship season everywhere. Here on the softball diamond, we are so close to finding out who will be featured in the super regional round next weekend. There were a handful of national seeds that had to win twice today. Texas A&M, one of those national seeds, and not the least of which being the #1 overall seed in the tournament. Thrilling victory earlier in maybe what was the game of the tournament. I know you're tracking it. We're getting pretty close here to figuring out all 16 slots. Golden pinch runs, by the way, over at first, and the off speed from Escobar beats Barbara.
Whenever you look at the bracket, one of the most exciting super regional sets have been happening here and then across the country up in Oregon. We're going down to a game 7. Oregon and Stanford going to a game 7.
Barbara towers this one. Woolley is ready to tag. Madry's got a great arm. There it goes. Safe. Very close play. Madry put it on the money. Texas A&M has got a runner now sitting in third, trying to bring her in.
Great job by Madry, just getting behind this one, trying to go hard all the way in. But again, the speed of Coco Woolley, whenever you're catching that ball deep outfield, you know she's going to be tagging, trying to advance.
Amari Harper, 2 for 2 today, has had an excellent regional. Texas A&M has scored 14 runs, 17 runs, 18 runs in 3 of their 4 games. It's prolific offense. It ignited earlier today when it had to. They've got an opportunity to build this lead in the winner-go-home regional final.
Really want to go back to Coco Woolley and how she got this inning started. Just a soft slap, just placed perfectly, but again, the speed, getting the steal, getting over to second, getting over to third. That's a good spot to be if you have Amari Harper up to plate. Anything through the infield, instead of scoring 1, that now scores 2.
We are getting close, by the way, to Escobar throwing her 400th pitch of the weekend. This is her 4th appearance in the circle. 395 now.
I mean, just talk about a gamer. This is the 3rd time that she has made a start against the #1 ranked team in the country, and she has gone toe-to-toe with them every single time.
The senior flame running on fumes. Count goes full. She has got to buckle down and keep this a 2-run game. Big opportunity for A&M on the other hand. Payoff. There's a swing. Liner out to left. Dorr has got it. Liberty strands a pair of runners. They're back at the plate in the 6th. Time running out for the Flames. Next batter after that sequence, Amari Harper knocks in a run. Coco Woolley scored to make it 3-1. Now Liberty, to make it 3-0, I should say at that time. Liberty later added a run, but in a tight ball game like this one at this point now in the 6th inning. How pivotal is that challenge and that added obstruction going to be?
I mean, we saw that back in the first game. 1 run can mean everything. And right now, Liberty, they are running out of outs. It feels like Texas A&M, they have been in the driver's seat for a majority of this game. Taking advantage of opportunities. Their bats have been hot. Their pitching has been dominant. But I will say, this last inning, had that hard hit, the home run, single.
But now there's a new pitcher. This is Emily Kennedy. She starts her first full inning in the circle once again against Liberty. KK Madry, Dorr, and Crane. 5, 6, and 7 due up. Madry takes that for a strike. Kennedy in the circle now. This is the All-American, the ace, the 20-game winner for A&M. In 3 games now against Liberty in the circle, she's been up and down. That's a leadoff walk in the 6th for Liberty.
I mean, look at these two, KK Madry, KK DeMint. They have been on fire for their teams. A lot of power, a lot of RBIs. They are getting on base. To me, the biggest thing, though, they live right in the middle of their lineups. They're the ones that cause chaos. Just when you think, okay, I'm past that 4-hitter. I'm past the dangerous part. Now I'm in the 5-6 area. They have been able to take advantage of those pitchers taking pitch off and just been dominating.
Paige Doors, the sophomore from Oregon. 1-1 pitch is low.
If I'm Liberty, knowing what I did against Emily Kennedy, my game plan was on point. I am excited to see her back on the mound.
I would be as well. 8 1/3 innings against Liberty. That was yesterday in the Saturday battle, and then earlier today only pitched into the 2nd inning. She's given up 13 hits, walked 5 hitters, but she strikes out Door here.
Emily Kennedy fired up. This one down in the zone. The drop ball works away from Door. Gets a swing and a miss. That is huge. Just as excited as Liberty is seeing Emily Kennedy, Emily Kennedy had to be out in that bullpen watching.
Madry takes second after that pitch got away from Coleman momentarily. It's a new catcher behind the plate for Texas A&M once again. Coleman has just come in.
But Emily Kennedy had to be out in the bullpen watching as Liberty had bases loaded and they were just 1 run away. There's nothing she can do about it. The chance to get back on the mound, get out of that last inning, and come up big for her team. That's huge.
Crane hitless this weekend. There's the heat. Count evens.
Zone very different from game 1. Having to expand with the 2-2 here.
Check swing. She went around. Strike 3.
Emily Kennedy is on fire. Back-to-back strikeouts. No, yeah, back-to-back in that same location. Dirty. She's carving up this Liberty team.
Next up, Savannah Jesse. We talked earlier today about how she bounces back from the losses. Swing, drive, Jesse, tie, score! Liberty does it again off of Kennedy.
Just when you think you can take a pitch off, you can't. Savannah Jesse into the night. This ball is at the same location that Emily Kennedy has gotten the 2 back-to-back strikeouts. Low and into the righties. And this ball is gone. Ties this game up 3 apiece.
That is the 5th home run that Liberty has hit off of Kennedy in now 9 innings this tournament. We are knotted up. Jemiah Byram, who came in for Watley after she hurt her arm in the bottom half of the 5th, hits for the first time.
There's one thing about this Liberty team, it is that they fight late in the game. They have come through time and time again. That is where they get hot. They rally, their bats come alive.
That's a 4-pitch walk. And so now Liberty's got another base runner now in the top half of the 6th.
tight of a leash Ford had with Lessentine, I would have a tight leash with Kennedy. I mean, this game is now tied up when you were comfortably in the lead 3-1. And
Partner, you just mentioned it. Here comes Ford.
I think this is the right call. I mean, it's tough, but they just have her number. She did such an excellent job at the start of this inning, getting back-to-back strikeouts. But whenever you have that scout, whenever you've seen a pitcher time and time again,
well, she's gonna leave lefty in. What do you think? That's now 5 home runs that Liberty has hit off of Kennedy in her 9 innings. See Sparks and Peters getting warm. And it does look like we ultimately will make a change. So Ford bought a little time. And Grace Sparks will pitch for a second time this weekend. There goes the All-American from a year ago. While we have a moment, let's remind you, Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. That's Tuesday night on the hardwood. The Thunder with that blowout victory over Denver earlier today. So it moves on to face Anthony Edwards of the Timberwolves, 8:30 Eastern on ESPN, and the Countdown Crew tips things off at 7:30. Grace Sparks is the junior from Dayton, Texas. Started her career at Ole Miss. This her first season in this Aggies pitching staff. Has provided some great pitching depth. But now she pitches with the go-ahead run on base for Liberty. 2 outs, top half of the 6th inning. And this chaotic, twisting and turning, thrilling regional final day at Davis Diamond. We've ripped another left hand to right hand turn here. Tied up at 3.
tied up for 3. That's what Liberty did. They chased out multiple pitchers in Game 1, doing the same thing in Game 2. Haven't faced Grace Sparks today yet. She throws mid-60s. She is just pure drop ball. You're going to see that changeup tunnel off. Even that changeup drops down off of the plate. Kennedy, she did have a drop ball, but you're going to see it's a little bit slower. You're not going to have that up pitch.
That's hit to left. Base hit for Savannah Woodard. The leadoff hitter for Liberty with her first hit of the evening. The flame is ignited again. Rachel Roop, the most dangerous hitter in Conference USA this season, steps back in. 2 for 3 today. A home run in the 5th inning earlier. Takes that pitch. That one's in the dirt. Runners advance.
And I see Trisha Ford just kind of pointing. As that ball passed by, Rachel Roop was getting out of that box. As long as you're a hitter in the box and that ball gets around, the catcher tries to get around you, that's okay. But once you're out of the batter's box and the catcher kind of collides, then you're in the way. You have to be very careful here.
Roop drills this. There it goes. Gone! Roop does it again! It's a 2-homer day for the Conference USA Player of the Year. This one puts the Flames back in front.
Rachel Roop, we know that she loves that inside pitch. This one on the lower end of the zone, the way that she was able to get her barrel underneath that ball and send it into the night. Talk about a comeback, talk about a fight. Liberty now up 6-3 after a 5-run inning. All of these runs, by the way, they've come with 2 outs.
A miraculous 2-out rally. Sydney Lessentine was pitching a brilliant game until Roop took her yard in the 5th inning. That's when Ford made the pitching change to bring on Emily Kennedy. She gave up the 2-run homer to Jessie this frame. That tied the score. And a couple of moments later, Rachel Roop. Is that going to be the biggest swing of her career? It's another 5-run inning for the Flames. Just like in their victory yesterday, they turned a 2-run deficit into a 3-run lead. Same inning in the top half of the 6th against this same team, the top-seeded Aggies. Emily Levitt is in the circle.
What in the chaos has been going on today? I mean, just 2 thrillers.
This is Bryn McManus, number 3 hitter with nobody on.
How easy it could have been for Liberty after that huge win to come in, get that first one, get the loss. How easy it could have been to surrender right after that. How easy it could have been whenever you're down 3-0 in the 3rd. But the fight from this team, they have a goal in mind, and you can just see they are unwilling to leave out of this regional without it.
Liberty has never been to the Super Regionals. It's reached the regional final 5 times since 2018, only to come up short every time. Will something change today in the most dramatic fashion against the number 1 seed, the mighty Aggies? McManus fights that off. Texas A&M has now used 3 pitchers in this inning. Started with Kennedy. She was lifted after giving up the homer. Sparks saw 2 hitters. Levitt called 3rd strike. McManus is out, but the damage is done. And all of a sudden, Liberty, after the 2-homer 6th inning, Jessie, Roop go yard. They got a 3-run advantage, 6 outs from a Super Regional. Tense expressions now in that dugout. That nugget says it all. Since we went to this tournament format in 2005, in 20 years, no number 1 seed has been eliminated in this regional round. They have always advanced to the Supers. For Texas A&M, it's 6, 7, and 8 at the plate in the bottom of the 6th. And here's the Warrior, Elena Escobar. She has been in the circle and started every game for Liberty this weekend. 400 pitches now in 3 days. She's got the lead. Her team is in front. KK DeMint takes the off speed, strike 2.
Just the mental toughness that you have to have as a pitcher. Whenever you get to this point in the season, physically, your body, your legs, your arm, it is worn off. It is dead. It is tired. It comes down to mentally, who's tougher.
2-2, left side of the infield. Byram got her at first. Liberty 5 outs away from advancing to a super regional. Nicole, they swing in front in the top half with the dramatic 5-run top of the 6th. It is the home run, the long ball, that gets it done again for this Flames offense. First pitch to Enright is high. Jesse and Roop both go yard. 2-run and 3-run homers. Now 9 home runs this weekend in 4 games for a Flames offense that has been great. Allie Enright goes yard. 2-run game.
Enright. We saw this in game 1. There is a battle that is going on here in College Station. Back and forth and back and forth. Both of these teams, they do not want their season to end here tonight. Allie Enright takes advantage of a pitch left middle from Escobar. Not only did she send it into tonight, there are now bubbles going everywhere into the night. It's been a few innings since we've seen some of those.
Every time they score, the bubbles fly. Kramer Echte back in the box. Fouls it off. Enright, 3rd-year Aggie. One of the veterans. Has the 1 seed, back within 2.
Kevin, you talked about the faces of A&M as they started this inning. Very different look right here. They're in it, they're locked in, there's a bit of life left in them. I mean, that ball got out of there so quick. Skedaddle on out of there.
Tricia Ford has said over and over again, her teams, and specifically this one, they want their opposition to fear us until the last out. That's just off the outer edge of the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The momentum swings back and forth all day. These 2 teams have battled. 1-2, back up the middle. That's a base hit. Tying run now for A&M is coming to the plate.
Bananas back in the game. Team is locked in, fans are locked in. There's one thing that Texas A&M knows how to do. It's be loose in the box. Offensively, there has been no worry for them here.
This is Kelsey Mathis, number 9 hitter.
And this is where we go back to that conversation for Elena Escobar. Physically, you're done. You're tired. Mentally, can you push yourself a few more outs? Just 5.
Counts 1-2.
Full-time Mathis has come up. It's been inning ending. Hasn't been able to reach base yet.
Escobar comes home, swing, bouncer underneath Crane's mitt. Texas A&M, 2 runners on. The go-ahead run. is coming to the plate. It's Kennedy Powell.
Would love a timeout. Just collect together as a team. Doesn't even have to be with the pitching coach, but just to reset on 3 batters back to back to back. Hard hits. Just give your defense a chance to catch their breath. You know that ball was completely ripped by. Starting to see Texas A&M, their exit velos going up, their contacts more and more consistent.
Remember, game 1 of the Western Conference Finals between the Oilers and the Stars. It begins Wednesday night in Dallas. Puck drop at 8 Eastern on ESPN. Coverage begins with the point at 7:30. An emotional Elena Escobar heads back to the dugout. And we might see an arm that Liberty has not thrown all weekend. Don Richardson is calling on Kalen Yoder, the sophomore from Delaware, who turned in an all-conference season once again this year. Hasn't pitched all weekend. Is coming in here in the tensest of spots to face the #1 team in the nation.
Talk about whenever the moment gets big. You never know when you're going to be called on. That's why you got to be ready.
How about this move? So you got 5 lefties, by the way, at the top of this Texas A&M order. And Richardson calls on the 1 lefty in this Liberty pitching staff. Here are the numbers for Yoder. She's logged a whole lot of innings, and we see her for the first time. So how about this for a late game move?
Yoder, you're going to see low to mid 60s, kind of slowing down this A&M team. She has a rise ball, late break, but the biggest thing for her, she struggles with control. So if you're Texas A&M, as aggressive as they like to be, they like to swing early in counts. Once I see Yoder coming up, I'm going to be patient at the plate. And if you're Yoder, your defense has come through for you time and time again. You've been sitting in that dugout watching all weekend long. Go for it. I love that moment right there between Jemiah Byram and Yoder. You and me here.
Now stepping into the circle into the box for the Aggies, third baseman number 1, Kennedy Powell.
This is it. Final game of the weekend. Final moments. Late innings, bottom 6, 1 out, 2 on. Kennedy Powell with A&M down 2. Yoder spots that in for a strike. Check swing. Powell did not offer. That pitch ran inside. While Yoder has struck out 78 hitters this year, Nicole, you hit it on the head. 62 walks, by far the highest walk rate on the team. 1-1 is foul down the line. Yoder keeping it in on the hands to the talented junior leadoff hitter, Kennedy Powell. She represents the go-ahead run in the bottom of the 6th. A&M has 1 run in. Allie Enright went yard. It's a 6-4 lead for the underdog Flames. Powell swings, lofts it. Here comes Woodard, dives, and it winds up foul. Winds up falling in foul territory. Woodard nearly got it. Would have been the 2nd out. Instead, we're going to do this over again.
I mean, look at Woodard, full extension. I mean, that just hits off the top of her glove. That one, false foul. From the point that it touched her glove, it was on the foul side of the field. We've seen so many moments, so many chances that A&M has taken advantage of, and this one, a great effort, but another chance for a very dangerous hitter here.
That was close to falling in fair territory, by the way. We'll do the 1-2 again. Powell drills it. This chases Madry back. She's got it near the track. Runners tag and advance. So now A&M is perhaps one hit away from tying the score. The senior from LaPorte, Texas, is about to dig into the left-hand batter's box. This is Coco Woolley, 2 for 2 today, and scored a big run back in the third. Woolley is the 3-time all-conference selection. It has been a fabulous career at A&M. 400 hitter this season. 11 for 19 in this regional. Yoder deals. Slapped foul.
Really just a lot of barrel control that we've seen. Like you said, 11 for 19. Being able to hit that ball through the infield, chop it high up into the air, a soft slap. She has a lot of tools that she can go to. Right now, there's a lot of options. This defense playing pretty deep on her.
High stakes moment. 2 outs, bottom 6. Gets to the backstop. And that one ricochets so quickly off the screen, right back to Jesse. Eshte broke immediately and then had to slam on the brakes. Wild pitch that time, nearly burns Liberty, but everybody stays put. First appearance this weekend for Kaylin Yoder. Woolley slashes it foul, so the count evens. Swing, liner, foul. How close have some of these foul balls been?
I mean, you saw it with Powell. Saw another one there with Woolley. Time and time again.
Let's do a 2-2 again. Woolley waits. Chopper, left side. Backhanded stop. 1 run comes home. No play for Byram. It's a 1-run game.
This one just deep into that 5-6. That's a great job by Byram to get a hold of that. It almost looked as if third baseman thought he was going to get all the way through. You know, she was covering as if the throw was going to be coming from the outfield. I wish she had stayed on that bag. It was a pretty big round right there, but again, great defensive read by Byram, being able to get there deep in that 5-6.
Here's the feared slugger, Maya Perez. Tying run is over at third. That's tight. A&M responds in the bottom of the 6th inning after Liberty swung in front with a 5-run top half. They've got 2 in, tying run at third. Go-ahead run is Woolley at first. That's in for a strike. Another thriller these two are playing in the regional final. Perez jammed. Is there a play for Jesse? No, that one winds up hitting the screen. Jesse, boy, almost tumbles through those dugout doors.
The swinging doors.
Yeah. Very close, but Perez now has another chance. A&M with a brilliant opportunity to tie the score.
Last night we got to hear from Perez and just the joy of playing for her team playing for her. What a moment to find herself in here.
Can she come through? Yoder fires, and the count goes full. Matt Barber is on deck, the cleanup hitter.
Woolley over at first. She's going to get the green light. 3-2, 2 outs.
Three-2, blasted out to left. Door is under it. Inning is over. Texas A&M does get 2. It's a 1-run game going to the final inning of regulation. Regional final. Everything on the line tonight. To the 7th inning we go. The action today between Liberty and Texas A&M has unfolded like a gripping movie. And now we're perhaps at the suspenseful conclusion. It's a 6-5 score. Liberty, the underdogs, Conference USA champs. They've never been to a super regional with a 1-run lead in the top half of the final inning of regulation. Emily Levitt is back in the circle to start her first full inning of work today after coming out of the pen in the 6th. Faces 4, 5, and 6 in the Flames order. This is Alyssa Henall. 1 for 3 today. Strikes it foul. Back and forth, back and forth. Third game these two teams have played, and all of them have come down to the wire. But this is it, Nicole. This is the end of the road. Texas A&M down a run, trying to avoid becoming the first ever 1 seed to lose in the regional round. Count evens now. Henall did not offer.
Game 1, Liberty comes from behind to get the win. Earlier today, Texas A&M came from behind to get the win. This has been one of the most fun regionals. Nerve-wracking for sure, but to be in this game right now, gotta be loving it.
Called third strike on the outside corner. Henall goes down looking, and Levitt has struck out the lone 2 hitters that she has faced.
Sounds like Levitt is loving it over here.
Two rosters filled with driven, determined competitors. A lot of veterans, a lot of seniors on both sides. KK Madry bluffs that bunt, but then pulls the bat back. Madry has been just an X factor all weekend. She has come up with big hits, big plays in the field. The tone-setting senior has walked twice today. And now she's ahead in the count 2-0. Her team was down 3-1 at the start of the 5th inning. Start of the 6th. And they just scored 5 to turn a 2-run deficit into, at the time, a 3-run advantage. Then A&M got 2 in the bottom half. Matry rolls that over to Woolley. 2 gone. So the only thing Levitt can do, I'm sorry, Nicole, is just get this to the bottom of the 7th, a 1-run game.
And if you're Liberty, I was making that point, if you're Liberty, you want those insurance runs. You know what Texas A&M, their offense, is capable of. And this time, they're the home team.
What a day. Slow roller, that's off of Paige Doerr's bat. 1, 2, 3 go the Flames. Liberty 3 outs away from KOing the 1 seed and going to a super regional. Last chance for the Aggies. Middle of the order is up next. Holds the 1-run lead over the 1 seed. The mighty Aggies, if they don't score at least 1, this game is over. And that would mean Liberty would go to its first ever super regional in 20 years of this tournament structure. No number 1 seed has ever failed to advance out of the regional round. A&M, Nicole just scored 2 in the bottom half of the 6th. If it wants to avoid this dubious fate, does it have one last rally against the lefty sophomore Kaylin Yoder? Her 2nd inning, that's it, in the circle this weekend.
Just when I thought my heart rate couldn't have gotten any higher after game 1, here we are in game 2.
Mac Barbara, cleanup hitter. Leads off, takes that one in tight.
The most dangerous part, arguably, of this Aggie lineup. You have to face Mac Barbara, Amari Harper, and KK DeMint.
That trio has been incredibly productive, this weekend.
Death row right there.
Yep.
And for somebody who hasn't thrown any games so far this tournament, any innings, Yoder coming into a huge moment right here.
High flying into medium center. Matry has it lined up. Liberty is 2 outs away.
That wind at the very last minute, you could feel it start to pick up. Matry struggling with it, was able to maintain control, but that's something to note. As these hitters, they have the ability to hit it high, high up in the air.
Here's a 1-0 coming to Amari Harper. She's got a favorable count now. Five runs for Liberty in the top half of the 6th to turn a 2-run deficit into a 3-run lead at the time. A&M with 2 runs in the bottom half of the 6th. They need something here to rally. One last chance for the number 1 seed in the field.
Both of these teams experienced heartbreak last year. Texas A&M, it was against Texas in the Supers. Liberty, it was in the regional final.
Bouncer back up the middle, base hit. The tying run is on base. Harper's aboard. And the rookie phenom, KK DeMint, is coming up. And Texas A&M will pinch run for Harper. At scout level.
Mobile. Her speed right now with a hitter like KK Dement, who has the opportunity to tie this one up.
She's been outstanding. 8 hits this weekend, 3 of them homers, and 1 a couple hours ago, back in the second.
Got the rally caps on. This is serious business. We're not messing around if you're Texas A&M and Liberty. Like I said, you were in this situation a year ago today. You were down to your final out. Heartbreaker in Athens, Georgia.
Eerily similar. They went into the bottom of the 7th inning of that game against the national seed Georgia. Down to the last out, the last strike. And they were walked off. Ultimately fell in the home 7, 3-2 in that game. A lot of folks in that dugout, they would say that's ancient history at this point. Wild how similar the situation is today.
But that reminder, you've been there. You know what it feels like. But in the midst of all that, head coach Stott goes out, leaves with a smile on her face, and our pitcher ready to throw to one of the biggest bats in A&M's lineup.
It's 2-0. Yoder didn't pitch all weekend. The sophomore who has been very good in her 2 years. All-conference team selection this year. Came out of the bullpen in the bottom of the 6th. Just her 2nd inning in the circle. All weekend long. Replaced Elena Escobar, the ace of the staff. And the count's 3-0 to Dement. That's over for a strike. She's trying to be real careful to this very capable hitter.
I get a strike on the corner. That's where I'm aiming. I do not want to give KK anything over the heart of the plate.
Swung at and missed. Strike 2. The payoff. Swing, liner, caught right by Roop. 2 away. A&M down to its last out.
Allie Enright, last time she came up to bat, had a massive home run that started that rally back in the bottom of the 6th. Again, so many of these hitters in this A&M lineup have the potential not just to go yard, but to cause some damage. And right now, Liberty, they are 1 out away
from the biggest moment in program history. Two and nothing. Enright, the senior, program veteran. Takes the 2-0 outside. And so Yoder has fallen behind back-to-back hitters here, 3-0. Ball 4. And now the tying run moves into scoring position. That's level, the pinch runner. Enright works the walk. It's up to Kramer Este, the senior from Brenham, Texas.
Right now it looks like there's some deliberation, and they're going to stick with the senior.
Next in box for the Aggies is number 91, Kramer Este.
We're squeezing every ounce of drama out of this one. Este takes a strike. Winner to the Super Regionals next weekend. It's a one-run lead for the Flames. Looking to do the unthinkable. Knock out a 1 seed in the regional round. Este takes it, strike 2. Liberty is a strike away. Yoder fires. Two balls, 2 strikes. Tying run is level at second base. Este waiting on a 2-2 pitch to keep the season alive. Here it comes. That's 3 times that Yoder has missed high and away. Count goes full.
Yoder got ahead early in the count. 2 quick strikes. From there, the nerves, the excitement. Oh, we're almost there. Reset. Full count. 2 outs. Get the job done.
Payoff is on the way. Swing and a miss. Ball game over. Liberty breaks through. It does the unthinkable. It knocks out the #1 overall seed and is moving on to its first